All right, let's jump straight into this explainer and set the scene, shall we? Picture this. We're at the absolute legendary Estadio Azteca down in Mexico City. It's this hallowed ground that has literally witnessed World Cup history twice before, but tonight, under those blazing stadium lights, we're getting a completely unprecedented matchup. It's the Group K opener, and it is a clash of absolute contrasts. You've got a nation making its historic first-ever debut on the world stage, going head-to-head with a South American powerhouse on a fierce quest for redemption. Welcome to the tactical breakdown of Colombia versus Uzbekistan. You know, the emotional stakes here, they're just absolutely massive. This definitely isn't just another group stage match for either side. For the fans draped in yellow, this whole tournament is about erasing the absolute nightmare of missing out on the 2022 World Cup. And for the supporters waving the blue, white, and green, man, this is the culmination of literally decades of agonizing near misses. It's a cinematic, incredibly high-stakes collision, and whoever comes out on top here is going to set the entire trajectory for Group K, which, by the way, also features heavyweights like Portugal and a really dangerous DR Congo. Section 1. Colombia's Quest for Redemption. Now, as we just mentioned, this is a golden-hued squad that is absolutely starving for World Cup success after that heartbreak in Qatar. They aren't just here to participate. They want to remind everyone exactly who Los Cafeteros are. And if you really want to wrap your head around their recent resurgence, you just need to think about this number, 28. That's 28 games unbeaten under head coach Nestor Lorenzo. When he took over back in 2022, the program was honestly in a pretty turbulent state, but his tactical intelligence totally transformed the team, completely restored national belief, and rocketed Colombia all the way up to the 13th ranked team in the entire world. So how exactly are they pulling this off? Well, it's kind of like organized chaos. Lorenzo has installed this incredibly flexible 4-2-3-1 or sometimes a 4-3-3 system that just thrives on high-intensity pressing and these blistering vertical transitions. They don't just want the ball from you. They want to completely overwhelm you with this highly rhythmic physical style of play. And, I mean, the proof is in the pudding. They fired in 28 goals during those notoriously grueling CONMEBOL qualifiers, picking up massive wins over giants like Brazil and Argentina. Now, the real secret sauce to turning all that defensive disruption into instant lethal offense, it's vertical pressing. It's absolutely their bread and butter. Basically, you've got this combative midfield pivot of Jefferson Lerma and Richard Rios anchoring the center. That allows the rest of the team to aggressively hunt the ball high up the pitch. And the literal second they win it back, they don't look sideways, they look forward. They use these lightning-quick combinations to carve open defenses before the opposition even has a second to catch their breath. But hey, every high-octane machine needs a brilliant operator, right? And for Colombia, that's their 34-year-old captain, James Rodriguez. He's the creative engine of the whole operation. During qualifying, James totally dictated the tempo and delivered a Confederation-best 7 assists. He might be an older statesman in the squad now, but his elite vision and his ability to just completely unlock defensive lines with a single pass, it remains absolutely world-class. And then you've got the guy who's usually finishing off those incredible passes, Luis Diaz. Operating out on the left wing, the Bayern Munich star has had a genuinely spectacular 2025-2026 season. To put his output into perspective, we're talking 26 goals and 19 assists across all competitions. That's a nightmare scenario for any opposing fullback. Thanks to his explosive pace and elite dribbling, he naturally draws multiple defenders toward him, which, you guessed it, opens up massive operating space for everyone else in the final third. Section 2. The White Wolves arrive. Now, on the flip side of this matchup, we have the incredibly resilient Uzbekistan squad. They've officially shed that old label of continental underdogs to become the very first Central Asian nation to ever reach the World Cup finals. And there's this great quote floating around right now. A man who has lifted the greatest trophy in football now seeks to lift an entire nation's spirit. They're talking about the legendary Italian manager Fabio Cannavaro. He took the reins in late 2025, bringing in this elite Ballon d'Or World Cup winning pedigree from his 2006 title with Italy. And rather than tearing down what Uzbekistan had built, he's used his defensive wisdom to shape this debutant squad into an absolute fortress. And honestly, fortress is the perfect word for it. Uzbekistan finally broke their qualification curse by adopting this unbelievably disciplined, defense-first mindset. They went totally undefeated in the second round. Then, in the third round, their goalkeeper, Utkir Yusupov, recorded an insane 10 clean sheets. 10! They kept the whole run off with this masterful 3-0 victory over Qatar. They literally just frustrate opponents to death by controlling space and limiting high-quality chances with an ironclad defensive structure. But listen, they aren't just parking the bus for 90 minutes. When they do win the ball in transition, they are desperately looking for their captain and talisman, Eldor Shomurodov. He's the country's all-time leading scorer with 44 national team goals. Playing his club football for Istanbul Başakşehir, the 6'3" forward brings this massive physical presence, but he also moves like a winger. He provides the crucial hold-up play and aerial threat that actually allows Uzbekistan's counterattacks to stick. So what does this all mean for the game? We're basically looking at a classic tactical paradox. It's quite literally the unstoppable force of Nestor Lorenzo's high-octane vertical transitions and South American flair crashing right into the immovable object of Cannavaro's rigid 3-4-2-1 mid-block. A mid-block that is specifically designed to chokehold the central areas of the pitch and entirely frustrate creative play.
Section 3. Tale of the Tape.
Because at the end of the day, games like this aren't just won on a whiteboard. They are won in the individual duels out on the pitch. So let's map out exactly where the tension is going to be highest. In the engine room, James Rodriguez is going to try to dictate the play, but he is going to be relentlessly hounded by Atabek Shukurov, Uzbekistan's tireless defensive shield. Out on the flanks, you've got the electric Luis Diaz trying to cut inside, but he has to somehow get past Manchester City's Abdulkadir Husanov, who has elite positional awareness. And then right in the penalty box, it's a sheer heavyweight bout. The rapid physical recovery of Colombia's Davinson Sanchez versus the aerial dominance of Eldor Shomurodov.
Section 4. Predictions and the final whistle.
So, how do the experts actually see this whole thing playing out? Well, predictive data suggests Colombia's technical superiority is going to let them dominate possession, probably hovering around 65 to 70%. But actually, that dominance creates some pretty fascinating openings for both teams. Looking at the Bet Builder outlook, analysts are eyeing Luis Suarez to score, since his intelligent movement is just perfect for capitalizing on all that territorial control. They're also heavily backing Luis Diaz to assist, acting as the key to unlock that stubborn defense. And finally, and this might surprise you, both teams to score. Let's unpack that last one, because both teams to score might seem like a bold call against Cannavaro's fortress. But here's the thing. Colombia's biggest strength, those aggressive, forward-pushing transitions, is also kind of their biggest vulnerability. When they commit bodies forward, they inevitably leave gaps at the back. And Uzbekistan, they are meticulously organized to absorb that exact pressure and instantly exploit those open spaces on the counter. Add in their sheer physical presence on set pieces, and the White Wolves have a very, very real chance of finding a historic goal here, even if Colombia's pure quality ultimately wins out. Which really just brings us to one ultimate question. Who is going to write history at the Azteca? Will Colombia's golden generation execute their redemption arc and prove to the world that they are genuine tournament contenders? Or will Cannavaro's debutant White Wolves shock the globe with an absolute masterclass in Central Asian resilience? The tactics are set, the stars are perfectly aligned, the whistle is about to blow. Just keep these specific matchups in mind as you watch, because this breakdown shows exactly where the beautiful game is going to be won and lost today.